Well, there was, when I came here, they put me in ESOL classes because Spanish was clearly my first language. And there was a teacher, her name is Mrs. Rivera. She was really nice. She sat down with me and helped me to read English books and helped to spark my learning, or my interest in learning, I guess, back then when I was really little. And then I just kind of picked up from there, and I had to get one of those really cool roly-poly book bags to get made fun of all through elementary and middle school because I had so many books that it was like destroying my back. The other person that really inspired me, I would say probably the most inspirational person as far as reading in my life goes, is my grandma. She lived with us when I was growing up. I was maybe like, it was my first house, so probably like 6 years old to like 8. So shortly after we moved here. And she would read every single night. She slept in my room. She would read every single night. So the light was on. I couldn't really sleep because I can't sleep with the light on. So I would just pick up a book and read with her. I might not have understood completely what I was reading at the time, but because of that, I think that was actually really what sparked my whole interest in it. I think now looking back and thinking about it is my grandma. She used to take the time to make sure that I read every night. And sometimes, she told me later in life, actually, that sometimes she didn't really even want to read, or she'd pretend that she was reading, but she wanted to make sure that I read because she knew that it was good for me. So that's where I think, I'm positive that's where I mounted all of my book collection that now is like 15 massive boxes that I will pass on to my kids.
Okay. You mentioned in the first interview that you liked writing. Would you say it was your favorite subject in school?
I did. I think history and English were my favorite subjects. I liked history, and history, there was a lot of writing in that too. There were a lot of, especially debates. Oh, debate was my favorite. I love debate. And I guess that's kind of a form of using writing and reading and speaking skills, speech skills. So that sort of fits the bill, but I did really enjoy writing, like I said, if it was something that I had researched and enjoyed researching and then really wanted to write about and prove a point with and all of that stuff. I'm sorry, let me read the question again.
Would you say it was your favorite subject in school?
I wouldn't say that writing in particular was, but certain projects that included writing, yes. So especially, like I said, debate projects. I did a whole debate on JFK and the triangulation theory, and my team won because I did a lot of research. I still have that binder. I have a massive binder full of research with JFK stuff from the triangulation theory and his assassination. Ask me a question.
Are there any certain genres that you prefer to write about?
History. Okay. All history, really, but World War II in particular, I have a weird fascination with, just because I can't really understand the evil, but it's still interesting to learn about. I have massive books on that subject, and I actually have done debates regarding that. That's probably my favorite subject to write about. Though I do enjoy writing now, and in my career as a nurse, I really enjoy writing thesis statements regarding certain treatments and things like that, and how I feel that they would work based on other research, things like, and the other thing I really enjoy writing about is autism research. I have a 5-year-old little boy who has autism and sensory perception disorder and an unspecified seizure disorder. And when he was first diagnosed, I found writing very therapeutic. I would research and write down all the facts that I thought were interesting and things that I could share with my husband and things that might benefit him. That's something I really enjoyed doing back then, and it helped me to kind of cope with the stress of finding out that diagnosis and the realities that come with it and the questions and all of that stuff. Also, it kind of introduced me to forums with other people who also wrote things. Blogs, actually.
Yeah, mommy blogs.
Yeah.
Right.
Mommy blogs, there were lots of them. I didn't really blog, and I'm not really much of a blogger, but maybe one day.
Do you write for fun outside of your job?
I used to write poetry all the time, but not, I wouldn't say I write like stories or anything, but poetry, yeah. Not, I wouldn't write research things for fun, I think. I think I have to be prompted to start research in order for me to do, well, you know, like the autism stuff, I wasn't like, you know, ushered into that by a teacher or anything. That was something that I did on my own accord. But I wouldn't say for fun necessarily, but yeah, it's something I enjoy. If I have to do it, I find ways to enjoy it.
What kind of writing do you do outside of your job, whether it's for fun or not?
I like to, well, I still enjoy debating, so there will be times where I'll like find things that are controversial on Facebook or things like that.
I was just going to say Facebook.
Yeah. I'll find things that are controversial on Facebook and I'll post a debate-like statement, and then I'll prompt at the bottom that if you insult me, I'm not going to respond. Because I don't like getting into arguments, but I do like getting into debates with like intelligent people who don't insult you. So I do that frequently. Actually, I've got like 2 going on today about the wedding thing. The people who invited other people to or the cousins who invited their cousins to the wedding, and the people didn't show up, send a letter, send an apology or anything like that. And so I voiced my opinion because the media likes to share whatever they like to share, but that's not the actual truth. The truth is those people were the bride and groom's or the bride's cousin, and they not only didn't show up, but for weeks after the honeymoon, they still hadn't contacted the bride and groom. So the bride and groom sent what I took to be a letter stating, or an invoice, that was kind of just trying to open the door of communication to say, hey, listen, you didn't show up, you never sent a gift, you never sent a letter, not even a well wishes for me and my husband. You know, you're my cousin. Hi, why are you not doing these things? So I was probably on the end of people who, or you know, on the side of the people who, well, on the side most people weren't on. And when I shared what the truth was about all of that situation, a lot of people agreed with me. But it was nice debating with some really cool people that were respectful and not mean. There were some mean people too. You know, you just block them. Yeah. Ew.
Oh, you mentioned earlier today also regarding the same situation, like your debates. You just wrote on Facebook about the controversy with the women in the armed forces.
That's right. I saw a post on a combat website or a combat Facebook page. I follow a lot of them. My dad is retired U.S. Air Force, and I'm thinking I'm going to be joining as a midwife in a few years. So I saw a post, and it said that women should be held to the same standards as men if they're going to be on frontline infantry, which I agree with, because to be honest with you, as much as I'm like, oh yes, women, fair equality, things like that, then okay, if we're going to be fair and equal, then it should be fair and equal. It should be the same standards for men and women. This is just my opinion, because I think that if I were to get shot, or God forbid, if I was on the front line, or if my husband was on the front line, let's say, and he got shot, I would want a woman who could carry his body out of that area, not a woman whose standards are way lower than a man that can't carry my husband out, or, you know, those kinds of things. I do think that women are adapted, but, you know, we have our, what is it, the word I'm looking for? We're much better at a lot of things than men are, but men are physically stronger than us. It's just facts. I'm sure there are many women who are stronger than, you know, the average man. However, for the most part, they have more muscle mass. there's other things that distinguish a man from a woman in those respects, but women are also much more empathetic and more caring, and they're able to care for people much better, and they're also more organized, better with groups of people. So those are things that, like, I feel like we're great leaders as women. So I posted something about that, and I got a bunch of likes, actually, 27 likes on that little tiny group thing, and people, I'm so famous. people think that was pretty nice, so I liked that. I was going to say something else about it, and I forgot. I mean, I did get one hateful person who decided that they wanted to post something along the lines of, well, we'll still get paid better than you, LOL. It's like, no. If you go in as an officer.
With a response like that, with using LOL and terms like that, how do you respond? Do you respond using the same types of terminology, or do you respond more, like, respectfully?
No, I'm much more, I respond in a way that's like, subtly, I'm better than you. Because if you're going to write something like that, that clearly shows that you just have no respect. So sometimes I don't even respond. Actually, for the most part, I really don't respond. But this time I actually did choose to respond to the person. I said, that's not right. You, as an infantry, you're not, joining an infantry, you're not going to be paid more than somebody who joins as an officer with a bachelor's degree. So no, that's wrong. But thank you for showing me what kind of person you are by trying to, denigrate my profession. That's the word? No, I don't know.
Degrade.
Yes, I think denigrate works too, but I don't remember. I'll have to look up, in my dictionary like I did when I was little. My thesaurus.